right, hi 7th grade. We are here for our very first homework of the school year. I'll get going on it right away because I don't really love being right here in your face. So a couple reminders on your homework. The first thing I want you to remember, please put your name on it. Please put your last name. I have a lot of repeat students, so I have like 4 Damians that I'm teaching this year. So please make sure you put your last name so I make sure I get the grade to the right student. The date, if you're starting this today, is September 8th, so 9/8. And put whichever class period you're in. You'll turn this into the box, but just in case you put it in the wrong box, this will help me get it into the right grade book. Okay. The next thing you need to know, if you want to get 100% on this homework, you want all the points, you need to make sure you show your work on every problem. You explain on every problem. All right? So for Monday, it says draw 2 different quadrilaterals, 4-sided shapes. That's what quadrilateral means. Each with an area of 12 square units. Okay, I'm not going to draw one for you because I don't want to take away your thinking, but I'm going to try drawing one that has an area of 16 square units. Okay, so you're going to do one with 12 over here in this space. I'm going to show you an example of one with 16 square units and what I want to see when I say show your work. So if it's going to be 16 square units, I know that I could have a side of 4, and I could have a side of 4, and this is going to give me a quadrilateral that has an area of 16 because I have this side 4 and this side 4, and 4 times 4 equals 16. This would be what I mean by showing your work and explaining. If you only draw the shape, you don't get full points. And I need to draw 2 different, so I'm going to go ahead and do a different one. This one I think I'll do, I'll do it a little complicated. I think I'll go 8 this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm just feeling a little fancy. I'm going to actually go ahead and make it a parallelogram. This is also a quadrilateral, okay? So we've got a little bit going on there for you. You can decide, but again, I'm going to show my work. This side is 8, and I know that the area of a parallelogram, which is probably something you might have forgotten from 6th grade, is base times height, and my height is 2. So again, I have 16. Ooh, I should label both. Units squared. Okay, this shows my work so that I know the area. So give me 2 shapes that have a 12 square units for their area. That would be Monday's homework. And if you want to, you could just do Mondays, and then tomorrow you could do Tuesdays, and then just do a little bit each day. Or you can just do it all in one sitting and be done. Oh, let me put that back. So if you're doing Mondays, you could pause right there. Finish it. All right, Tuesday says there are 12 inches in 1 foot and 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Elena ran 2.5 miles. We need to find how many feet is that and how many inches is that. Well, again, I'm not going to do this problem for you, but I'll do one right along with you that is very similar, and you can use the same process to figure that out on your own. I love using calculators. You remember you've got them in my classroom. We're going to use them pretty much all of the time, so I'm going to get my calculator out for this one. Okay, so we've got, we're figuring out how many feet is 4.5 miles. One of the ways I like to figure it out is using a table, which I know you've done in 6th grade. So I'm going to do a table, and we can start out with, what do we know up here? We're dealing with feet and miles, right? So I'm going to come up here and say 1 foot is 5,000. So let's get our feet and our miles and our labels. And we know that 1 foot is 5,280 miles. Okay, but George ran 4.5 miles. Now if I'm using my calculator, I need to make sure that's a decimal, not a fraction, right? And 4.5 is the same as 4.5. So we can put 4.5, and I need to find this missing information to get my answer. Okay? So in 6th grade, a lot of the time I know you would work on the outside of the table, and we're doing some refresher from 6th grade since it's barely the beginning of the year. And what would I have to multiply 1 times to get to 4.5? So the way I always tell my students when they're trying to find the number they don't know, you might already have this pop in your head, and that's great. But if you're like, I have no idea, I'm not sure, I can't remember, I always say divide backwards. So start here and divide the other direction so you can find the missing multiplication. It's 4.5. All right, because 1 times anything is going to be the same thing. So we're going to times this side times 4.5, and we want to do the same thing over here. So then I grab my calculator, and I do 5,280 times 4.5 is 23,760. Oof. I just screwed that up. I'm hoping that somebody was like, oh man, that is not right. And they could explain to me what the problem is. Because what does it say on here? There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. I have my labels backwards. When my labels are backwards, nothing works right. Because I paused just now, and it's that question I want you to ask in every class. Does it make sense? Does it make sense that if they ran 4.5 miles, I have all of a sudden 23,760 miles? I don't have these. They don't match. It doesn't make any sense. This is all wrong. It's close to right, but it needs some adjustments. Okay, we're going to try this again. I'm going to start a new table. This time, I'm going to have 1 mile is, I'm going to switch my labels the other way. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. And I'm running 4.5 miles. So you can see it's the same information, but I went and did my labels wrong, which messes everything up. I hate it when I do that. But I'm still going to multiply by 4.5. But this time it'll make sense in my brain when I get to my answer. So it is still 23,760, but now it's not miles. Okay, so sorry. So if George ran 4.5 miles, that's 23,760 feet. That's his answer. Okay, so pause right there if you want to just focus on the feet part of this problem. And I apologize again for messing that up. In class, that would have been a perfect moment for a Jolly Rancher, but since we're in a video, nobody can catch me. I had to catch myself. Next problem says, how many inches is this? Or this? Because these are equivalent, right? This is in miles, that's in feet. But how do we get to inches? So we're going to come back here. 12 inches is 1 foot. Now, when I'm doing a table, I like to have, if I know what the 1 is, I like to put it on this side. But it's feet, remember? 1 feet and inches. 1 is 12. Okay, let's get that set up right this time. Now, I'm talking about this many feet. How many inches is that? So what do we multiply by out here? 1 times 2,360 is going to be, so that's what I'm going to multiply it by. So then I grab my calculator again. Oh, and that's a big number. Okay, let's adjust my papers so we can get it all in there. 285,120. So the answer for this one, inches. That's a lot of inches. I think I should start telling people how many inches I run, because it would sound a lot more impressive than the miles, because I haven't run in a while. I ran a mile not too long ago, and I should have just said that in inches. It would have sounded cooler. Okay, how many inches is that? This is the process, but remember we're doing George's 4.5. You need to do Elena's 2.5 miles. So think through, where did 4.5 fit into this problem? How did it fit into the table once I did it right? And how can you use that? So pause there and work on Tuesdays. And if you have more questions, you can always ask me. Wednesdays, use the order of operations, which is PEMDAS, to correctly evaluate the following problems. So PEMDAS, we're going to do a little review. We did it in class, but just a reminder, P is for parentheses. That's what you're supposed to look for first when you're evaluating problems. There's none here. Nope. Oh, but there's some right here. So this is the section you would need to do first. The next one is exponents, which is like 3 to the 4th power. That would be that little 4 up there. That's the exponent. No exponents, no exponents, no exponents. I don't need to worry about it. The next we do is multiplying and dividing all together going that way. So multiplying and dividing. So we're going to look through this and go, oh, there's some division. So that means we do this one first. And then, oh, there's some multiplying. We do that one second. Here. Oh, over here some. So this would be first. And then here you had to do this first, so that makes this second. Because we did parentheses, and you're going to come to this. So, for example, on this one, if I do this first, and I go 3 plus 3 plus 3, I get 9, and everything here has disappeared and become the 9. Then I have minus, and everything here is going to be just the answer right here. And all I have to do is do this answer minus this answer to finish. Okay? The last one is adding and subtracting, which everything else I'm going to go through and add. So get your answer here and add it to the answer here. So you'll have two numbers you're adding together. Here you can do 3 plus 3 plus 3 minus whatever that number is. Okay? Again, don't forget to show your work. If you just grab a calculator and put this into your calculator, you will get an answer. And that would be a great way to check if what you were doing worked. You could grab your calculator and see if it agreed with you, because the calculator does the same order of operations you should. But if you don't show your work, you don't get full points. So take the time to mark out what you're doing first and showing me your work. Thursdays says, did you use the video? Yes or no? Was it helpful? Yes or no? What could Ms. Maasen do to make it better? If it was helpful, what could I do to better? If it was not helpful, I definitely want some ideas of how I could make this better for you. Okay? So that's it for this week. You can log off now, or you can hang around for just a second and I'll share a little bit more about myself, because some of you asked questions and I don't want to take up a lot more class time. Get myself turned around so I can just talk to you. So again, you can just stop, or you can stay and listen to me tell you random things about myself. So favorite colors, I like red is usually my favorite. I also like blue, but red is probably my favorite. I like Almond Joys, is my favorite candy, but I don't actually like chocolate very much. That one's okay because it tastes mostly like coconut. So I'm not a huge chocolate fan. I like pizza and ice cream, mostly vanilla ice cream. At home, when I have like free time, I'm probably reading or building a puzzle or sleeping or eating, because I really do like to eat. The biggest puzzle I've ever built was 18,000 pieces, and it took me about 2.5 months. It was 9 feet wide and 6 feet tall, which was kind of crazy. Let's see, I don't have any pets. I don't really have a favorite movie. I'll watch anything that seems good. I do kind of like fantasy movies like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars or any of the Marvel movies. I don't like horror movies. I don't like scary movies. I'm just not a fan. They creep me out and then I can't sleep. And since I love sleeping, I'm not going to do anything that messes up my sleep. I don't have a favorite sports team. I don't really watch any sports. So if you have a favorite team and you want me to like cheer for them, you tell me who I'm cheering for. I'll cheer right along with you, and you can explain the rules and all the things. I live outside of Warden, like 4 miles-ish out of town. Somebody asked where I lived, so I am out in the country. I live on a farm. That's what my family does. Somebody asked if I like plants. I like plants, but I can't keep them alive when they're in the house. I need them to be outside on like an automatic sprinkler system, or they just die, because I'm not good at remembering to water them, or I overwater them. I currently am driving a Toyota Grand Highlander, so not really exciting, but that's what I have since somebody asked. Somebody else asked if I've ever traveled. The farthest I've ever traveled is to Japan. I did that about 1.5 years ago. I went with my second son. It was cool, beautiful, but traveling there was a nightmare. That was the worst trip I've ever taken because our flight got canceled. We had to spend the night in the airport. I've never slept in an airport before. I don't recommend it. And we got there like a full day later than we were supposed to, and then on the way home our flight was bad again, and this time we slept in a hotel, but again we got stuck for an extra day, so it was exhausting. But Japan was pretty. I've been to Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, and I've been to Costa Rica and Belize. So I do like to travel, and I plan to keep doing a little bit of that, especially as after my kids are gone. Sorry, they're expensive, and I don't want to take them all with me. I usually take like one at a time. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me, and hopefully this video was helpful, and hopefully you get your homeworks turned in and we start the year strong with some good grades and some good habits. Okay, I will see you in class.